She brought her little girl on a blind date, but the single dad's reaction changed everything. Hook. She almost canceled the date 3 times. Standing in front of her bathroom mirror, rehearsing apologies she hadn't needed to give yet, Sarah kept thinking the same thought: this is a terrible idea. Not because she didn't want companionship. Not because she had given up on love. But because her 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had come down with a stomach bug that morning, and there was nobody else to watch her. What happened next wasn't just unexpected. It was the kind of moment that makes you stop and rethink everything you believe about strangers, about kindness, and about the quiet ways the world can surprise you when you least expect it. Subscribe segment. Before we get into this story, if you're new here, welcome to Heartfelt Moments, a place where we share real, emotional stories about the best of humanity. If these kinds of stories move you the way they move us, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment below telling us about a time a stranger's kindness caught you completely off guard. We'd love to hear from you. Now, let's get into it. Main story. Sarah was 34 years old and had been a single mom since Lily was 18 months old. She worked as a dental hygienist in a small town outside of Columbus, Ohio, and her days were full: school pickups, grocery runs, bedtime stories, and the steady, quiet exhaustion that comes with doing everything alone. She wasn't bitter about it. She had made her peace. But her coworker, Janet, had been nudging her for months to try dating again, and eventually, Sarah said yes, agreeing to a blind date with a man named Daniel, a friend of Janet's husband. They had texted back and forth for a week. He seemed kind, thoughtful. He asked follow-up questions, remembered small details she had mentioned, and made her laugh with genuinely funny observations rather than tired pickup lines. She had been cautiously optimistic. Then the morning of the date arrived and Lily woke up pale and teary, her little hand pressed against her belly. Sarah called Janet immediately, hoping she could watch Lily for just a couple of hours. Janet was already out of town visiting family. She tried 2 other friends. No luck. She sent Daniel a text that started with, "I am so sorry, I think I need to cancel." But before she could finish typing, her phone rang. It was Daniel. "Don't cancel," he said, his voice easy and warm. "Bring her." Sarah blinked. "She's sick. She's 7. This is a first date." "I know," he said. "I have a 9-year-old son at home. I get it. Bring her. We'll keep it low-key." Sarah stood in her kitchen for a long moment, phone pressed to her ear, genuinely unsure what to do. Something in his voice felt safe. Not overly confident, not performative, just calm and sincere. She looked at Lily, curled up on the couch under a blanket, watching cartoons with glassy eyes, and made a decision she would later describe as one of the best she'd ever made. They met at a small diner on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just red vinyl booths, bottomless coffee, and the smell of warm pie. Daniel was already there when they arrived, sitting in a corner booth with a coloring book and a small pack of crayons on the table beside him. Sarah stopped walking when she saw it. "I stopped at the dollar store on the way," he said, standing to greet them, his smile a little nervous but his eyes completely genuine. "I figured she might need something to do." Lily, who had been dragging her feet and leaning against Sarah's side the entire walk from the car, looked at the coloring book. It had horses on the cover. Lily loved horses. She looked up at Daniel with the unself-conscious honesty that only 6-7-year-olds have and said, "Do you have the good crayons? The ones with the sharpener in the box?" Daniel laughed, a real laugh, surprised and delighted. "I do not," he admitted. "I grabbed the wrong ones. I'm sorry." Lily sighed like a tiny old woman and climbed into the booth anyway. What followed was 2 hours that Sarah would replay in her mind for weeks afterward. Daniel was patient with Lily in the unforced way of someone genuinely comfortable with children. When Lily's stomach hurt and she needed to lie down, he flagged the server and asked for a cup of warm ginger tea without making a fuss, without making Sarah feel guilty, without glancing at his watch. He talked to Lily like she was a full person, asking her about her favorite horse breeds, listening seriously when she explained the difference between a Palomino and an Appaloosa. At one point, Lily fell asleep leaning against the window, her cheek pressed against the glass, her coloring book open on the table. And in that quiet moment, Daniel looked across the table at Sarah and said, "She's wonderful. You're doing a really good job." Sarah had been told she was a good mother before. Her own mother told her. Her friends told her. But something about hearing it from a stranger, from a man who had just watched her navigate a sick kid on a first date with zero complaints and a cup of ginger tea, cracked something open in her chest. She blinked hard, looked down at her coffee. "Thank you," she said. "That actually means a lot." They sat there a little longer than they needed to. And when they finally walked to the parking lot, Lily half asleep against Sarah's shoulder, Daniel held the door open and whispered, "I had a really good time. Both of you." Sarah drove home that evening with the windows cracked and the radio low. Lily slept in the backseat. And Sarah thought about how kindness doesn't always look like a grand gesture. Sometimes it looks like a dollar store coloring book with the wrong crayons. Sometimes it sounds like, "Don't cancel. Bring her." Sometimes it arrives exactly when you've stopped expecting it and reminds you, gently, quietly, that good people still exist. Closing. That's the thing about kindness. It costs so little and means so much. One small decision, to be patient, to be thoughtful, to make room for someone else's reality, can change the entire trajectory of a moment. Of a day, sometimes, of a life. So today, wherever you are, we want to leave you with this. Be the person who stops at the dollar store. Be the person who says, "Bring her anyway." Be the kind of human that someone drives home thinking about, with the windows down and a sleeping child in the backseat and hope, quietly, refilling their heart. Thank you for watching Heartfelt Moments. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that kindness is still out there. We'll see you in the next one.